Okay, we're going to look ahead at Sainsbury's. A lot of interest here. Half-year figures on Thursday. This is all going to evolve around what's going on with the Asda deal.
Yeah, it's the entire year has been defined by that. Even if you just look at the chart, there's a huge gap in the middle where it announced that what was a pretty shocking merger with Asda. Yeah. That helped the stock hit like 4-year plus highs by August. I think it was like above 340. However, since then it has started to pull back. That pullback basically coinciding with the Competition and Market Authority's announcement of an investigation. They went from an investigation into an in-depth review because it said there's sufficient concern that the deal could sort of substantially harm competition. I think it sort of identified 463 locations where Asda and Sainsbury's stores overlap. That could cause, quite a lot of closures for both companies. I think it also outlined the scope of the investigation, which is going to include the sale of like fuel, clothes, children's toys, small white electrical goods, and also includes sort of assessing the ability of Aldi and Lidl to provide substantial and significant enough competition that could sort of mitigate some of the effects of the Sainsbury's Asda merger. So there's a lot of obstacles in the way. Yeah. That was always going to be the case, but obviously I doubt that Sainsbury's was particularly happy to hear that there was an in-depth review. Obviously investors are going to want to hear some kind of update on that on Thursday. How much Sainsbury's will be able to give in terms of an update, I'm not quite sure, because it is in effect out of its control. And in terms of its financial performance, that really shows why Sainsbury's needs this Asda deal. I think it's half-year figure, it's first quarter figure, like-for-like sales growth was only up 0.2%, which was a massive drop-off from, say, the 0.9% and 1.1% seen in the previous two quarters. And that came despite, that meager growth came despite the boost of the World Cup and the heat wave, and was way behind its sort of other supermarket peers. It enacted loads of price cuts during that period and things like that to try and combat what it's claimed is a competitive supermarket environment. But even if you take that competitiveness into account, it's not really doing as well as the likes of Tesco's and Morrison's. Yeah. In terms of its half-year figures on Thursday, investors are going to see just some kind of improvement on that 0.2% over the second half, for the total for the first half of the year. The second quarter does slightly encompass some more of the World Cup and the heat wave, but maybe not enough to create a significant boost across the entirety of the second quarter. It was sort of split between the very end of the first quarter and the start of the second quarter. From our clients' perspective, they're actually still selling Sainsbury's around like the 320 mark. Okay. I think they are, whilst there is still the lure of that deal if the Asda deal goes through, I think its financial performance isn't anywhere near strong enough that for investors not to just punt for one of the other supermarkets, basically. Yeah. Tesco and Morrison's are doing far better in terms of their quarter-on-quarter financial performance. I think that's why Sainsbury's might be suffering in comparison.
Okay, thanks, Connor.